Getting started. There you go.
Thumbs up. Okay. Hello, hi. As Krista said, I am Tate. I'm presenting you about Minecraft. This is going to be a really long presentation about Minecraft. This is for my trimester 1 defense for the STEM Science STEM Mastery Credit of Advanced Divergent Topics and Divergent Thinking, which is a fancy way of saying that this project is going to get very nerdy very fast. So before we get started, we should understand what this project even is. So what this project is using knowledge of deterministic LCD generators within Minecraft to brute force determine sets of features within seeds to find a Minecraft word seed from a singular seed screenshot. Holy crap! What does that mean? Starting from the beginning, we should probably define what a random number generator is. Sorry. Should I wait or? Okay, I'm gonna just keep going. So on screen here now, we have what is known as a pseudo-random number generator. As most of you probably know, numbers and values in computer systems cannot be what is known as random. It's all mathematical and logical. So the solution to get these seemingly random values is to fake it. And that's what the pseudo-random number generator allows us to do. It allows us to define this value that we refer to as the seed. This gets changed by this 25 billion number times the seed, plus 11, then the remainder after dividing by 2 to the power 48, or mod 2 to the power 48, if you've ever seen modular arithmetics. So this is the pseudo-random number generator native to Minecraft, and this generates these seemingly random assortments of numbers that seem to have no correlation from each other, but they're completely deterministic because when we use the number from the last one, it goes into the next one to make the next one, and therefore it's always the same processes that are going one way. So meaning that if we know what processes are going one way, we can work the other way. So within Minecraft, there is the option of a world seed. So this world seed is the pseudo-random number generator that generates the random worlds within the game of Minecraft. And because it's mathematical and like that, entering the same seed would result in the same strings of generation in the exact same world every single time. And so the scope of this project is being able to start from that outcome of the world generation and then work backwards to what was the input of this seed.
Isn't the bedrock layer on each world the same?
Potentially. Yes, it is. And the clouds are also the same in the night sky, but that's not the point. So does anyone recognize these screenshots? If you are familiar with Minecraft, you might be familiar with them. If not, you might not be familiar with them. There's someone over there. Well, Ivan, I don't know.
The backsplashes.
Yes. So all 4 of these screenshots were the panorama title screens for previous Minecraft versions, like the aquatic update, the village update, these, and the nether update. What was really interesting about this to me is a community of people, just by, that's really freezing, looking at these screenshots, we were able to extract enough data, but just by looking at this singular screenshot, to find the processes that made this outcome happen. So you can find, just from looking at this screenshot, what string of events happened within the world generation to make that. And that was really cool. Not only that you can go backwards like that, but extract all the information from a singular screenshot. So the community that really did this was the Minecraft at Home community. I reference them a lot in my documentation because they have a really big one that does this. And they have my micro community that I have worked with, and there's the monetized community that I'm justifying and referencing for my query of purpose. Because I'm working through inspiration of this community for finding seeds within Minecraft. And like I said, the big objective of this project was to not only figure out how this was done, but then successfully attempt this ambitious goal of doing this myself. So this presentation is meant to be a general overview. I'm not going to go into the mathematics. I have this book for that, but what I can do is explain some of the concepts. So from looking at the singular screenshot, I was able to find the world seed. So is there anything that is unique about the features that we can see from this screenshot that we might be able to identify? I don't know if people immediately jumps out. If anyone just wants to say something.
The placement of the flowers. I think those are cornflowers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Flowers are randomly
Lily of the Valley,
placed.
that's what those are. And then the leaf rotation, I think.
Yes, the leaf rotation. As it turns out, if we look really closely at the leaves of these trees, we actually begin to see these little arrows that always point this way. This texture in the game is static, meaning that these leaves rotations would never rotate in another way, and they will always be pointing in this direction. And in the game, that is pointing to the west direction. So meaning if we can identify some tree leaves, we can identify that this screenshot is in the west orientation. And if we know what is west, by default, because we know how a compass works, we know where east is, we know where north is, and we know where south is. Additionally, we can also look at the textures of the grass. Oh, that's wrong. And see how, and notice, as it turns out, the grass textures are, for visual diversity, are not the same. They are randomly rotated, so it's better on the eye. So it's not the same texture across the thing. And this is a process that does not use the big random world seed. This is a process that is randomly across all Minecraft worlds. So meaning that the location that we can extract from this block of the texture of that would be the exact same texture of that block across all Minecraft worlds. Meaning if we can naturally, if we can collect enough data from textures, we can find an exact coordinate location of a position. So this GitHub user 19 Mr. X98, that's a really mouthful name, has this texture rotations program. It's freezing. Right here. And inside this, it has a Java program that allows me to use this data pack that they developed that has the textures of the blocks that I can read to recreate the world, and then use the Minecraft debug stick to align those textures so I can look, cross-reference the textures I see in my thing to the textures that I'm recreating with this to rotate that, to then get usable data points that I can use in a program to brute force between potential seeds. So how that would look is if I rebuild that exact same slice within a copy of the world, I see how the terrain built up, and then I can see what I marked the things in red where I could see really good rotations of how the textures would look. And then that's all in comparison of that green grass block. Oh, it's not working. Right there. And that and then using the texture packs, I'm able to change that textures of those blocks to then represent these numbers, and these numbers can then be used in the program to find the location of that green grass block. And because I know how the world is orientated and I know how this is all organized, I now know that the exact coordinate location of this slice of the world was extracted from the screenshot. But it goes further. So now that I know where the world is, I can start finding the stuff inside the world. So I can build up the exact trees that I saw from the same screenshot before. This is a little bit weird. I have exclamation marks above the trees that I wasn't able to get proper data from because it was messy. And then we can reverse the generation of trees to get an understanding of what the world seed is. To understand how trees generate, they work within, they are a feature that works within chunks. So a Minecraft chunk is this 16 by 16 block of an area, and it uses this variable in Minecraft known as the population seed, which makes use of the world seed and this int blocks x variable and this int block z variable, which are actually equivalent to the most negative blocks of the chunk. So meaning that we know each chunk has this random function that generates all of these random features, including which is the location of all these tree stuffs. So I go into reversing that in here, but since we know that, we can then undo that when we're developing a program to undo that. Additionally, trees have a random heights that they can do. We can think of this as they can either be 4 blocks, a trunk height of 4 blocks, 5 blocks, or 6 blocks, or essentially not exactly like a random dice roll of 3 possibilities. As well as the leaves of the trees have a 25% chance for all of the corner leaves to be missing, which altogether gives us enough data to collect and make a unique assessment of all of the possibilities of what could be a Minecraft world to then brute force through all the potential Minecraft seeds. If you are unfamiliar with the idea of brute forcing commonly referred to in like the cybersecurity context or like password hacking, is trying every single possible value like in a thing. So trying 1, 2, 3, like as you see here, and until we get 1 that matches the feature sign we're going for, that I defined there, that match the screenshot that I am looking for. And brute forcing, like naively, like 1 at a time would work, but there's some issues. Minecraft seeds are big. There's a lot of Minecraft seeds that exist, and there's a lot of possible values that I have to go through. Minecraft seeds can be referred to as 64 bits of information, or like 64 ones or zeros that could store every single possible value that could be a starting Minecraft seed for us to then to drop. Like that's essentially equivalent to 18 quintillion possible seeds. But that's not just like 18 quintillion things that we have to brute force for. We also have to brute force through all of those, and then additionally have to brute force within each of those 18 quintillion things, like a couple hundred times, because there's that seed within the population seed is used to generate everything in the chunk, and we need to have a call length of that, which is something that exists in the documentation. But if we use something that is referred to as a text seed, which is when the seed generator uses text instead of using just numbers or numerals, that changes the seed value every single time to be 32 bits, which is a much more reasonable something for a first-time person doing this project to brute force through about 44 billion possible values. It's still quite a big task, but it's more doable. And to me, like, it's still impressive, but it only really makes up a very small percentage of the possible Minecraft worlds that could exist. Additionally, to do this, I use a very powerful computer component. Does anyone recognize and know what this does? Alfred, do you want to say what this is?
That's a GPU.
Right, and what can DPUs do?
They can do parallel processing.
Yes, so GPUs can do this thing known as parallel processing. Most computer components can process one thing at a time, and they can do that quite efficiently. What GPUs can do is they can split down this problem into multiple subsets that all work simultaneously together to then solve the problem. It's really confusing and really technical to get into GPU programming, and again, that's why I have this book to go into that. But it should be clear on how it can be applied to this project by having the big project of brute forcing through all the possible things as the problem, but then that can be separated upon cores within the GPU to do that. And to do that, I'm using a tool developed by the company of my graphics card, the NVIDIA CUDA Toolkit, which is a program that allows me to use the hardware on my system of my GPU, and then to easily program a brute force thing that makes use of the full GPU to parallel, to distribute the problem, to parallel process, and make the process take, instead of 3 months, like 4 hours, which is still a long time, but I would rather have a program running for 4 hours rather than like 3 months. But that is still really confusing, and I can tell you about that, all about that. And if you have questions, it is. But a big thing was just Googling it, like, going to Stack Overflow, looking at code references. I have a whole bunch of references in the back of stuff I do. And but part of it, this defense, is showing that I can understand these concepts and tackle them to solve what seems to some people a very random topic. And that transitions us into the ISB justification and explanation. So I've already tried to make this process as easy to you guys as possible, because I provided this little handout that explains everything. I've annotated the things with the blue representing intellectual, yellow representing substantial, and purple representing the beautiful aspects highlighted within here. I do not expect you to read this whole book, but there are parts that I want to highlight. And then I explain that on that handout there, explaining why you should score me high. Starting with the research category, because we've already justified the clarity of purpose. For 7 on the research category, students are expected to provide an annotated bibliography of all of the relevant sources. In the back of my book, I have 13 whole pages of an annotated bibliography in the back of the book, cited in MOA format from relevant sources within the Minecraft community, code examples, technical sources, and credible sources. All sorts of things with annotations. And I even make reference to what sources are easier for me to understand, being neurodivergent and dyslexic. Speaking of having dyslexia, something that is really difficult for me is the idea of conventions. I don't have good English, I don't spell well, it's difficult. So I'm not good at it. But luckily, what I was able to do for this process is I was able to send my work to Melissa, and Miss Melissa was able, being a writing professional, was able to help me with this process and really help me refine this thing. Right now, I have, to assist my conventions, I have good grammar, there's the things, and to enhance my readers, I have a glossary, I have table of contents, all those things to enhance the expression of the project. Additionally, in the substantial rate of real-world relevance, it comes down to 2 things for justifying the score of a 7. Sustained contact with a relevant community, as well as an issue of importance. I have this 10-page handout on your thing with my Discord interactions and a short little paragraph about why my issue of importance. You should all have one of those. But to be clear, my, that's bad. Sustained contact is primarily with the community I talked about before, was within the Discord community of Minecraft at home. It might be unconventional and abnormal, but it is by far the most relevant community I could be talking about and interacting with for this project. Additionally, I made reference to the big primary relevance being password hacking this year. I'm taking, within password hacking, there's a concept of social engineering, which is extracting data from and research of your target, and then being able to use that data to develop an algorithm to attack and find the data you want. That is exactly what I was doing by assessing the data of that Minecraft screenshot and then developing a computer program that can get me the outcome I want. It might not be the most efficient, but I am a junior in high school. Additionally, this is not the end. There was so much more I can do. This is the first time I've done a fence. This is the first time I've done a project on this scale. I believe that I'm going to do multiple more technical projects throughout my thing. I think this is an amazing artifact right here that I have printed, and I think all of my technical projects are going to be printed like this. I think in the future I'm going to have like an APA format instead of MOA because I think that makes more sense. I'm going to have better explanations. I'm going to have better visuals because I'm getting better at art, and I'm going to have more because I have a better flow in how I'm writing this stuff now. This is the first time of me doing this documentation, but it is certainly not the end. Additionally, I think this project of Minecraft seed cracking could be a thing where it would be super interesting if I could do a small little thing where I teach very basic concepts to some students, if there was a possibility. I did a lot of research and I have a lot of stuff in here where I can teach students how basic Java concepts through the lens of Minecraft, which might be a little bit more interesting to those who are not immediately interested in programming. In the context of aesthetics, this is my aesthetic thing. This is a beautiful, professionally printed book right here. This has self-made visuals that I made in Google Drawings and is awesome. Additionally, not to break the fourth wall, but this slideshow is a really big primary thing of aesthetics. For this presentation, I had the whole presentation designed within Minecraft. This whole world that we've been exploring, I tried to explore the world that I crafted the seed of because I thought that would be a really cool theme, not for aesthetics and coherence. Speaking of coherence, coherence is how my artifacts and products enhance and build off each other. Like I said, I explained that in my handout there, but what I really want to talk about is not only how the products build off each other, but it's also how my final goal was built up to by my other artifacts that I didn't really talk about in this presentation. So for this project, I started by pitching this way back in my trimester 3 data analytics of my sophomore year, and I really just wanted to do this. I needed to find a project. I asked Chris if I could do it, and I was approved, and I got really into the foundationals of Minecraft seed crafting. Then, throughout the summer, I was able to refine this work and do artifact 2 and 3, which work together to find a whole Minecraft world seed. So that would be a 64-bit world seed, but that one requires you to extract data from the world itself. You can't extract enough data from the screenshot for that to work. But that really sets up for like CUDA programming and more advanced concepts that really go into the ultimate ambitious goal of the artifact 4, which I talked about today, was being able to crack a Minecraft seed from a singular screenshot. And additionally, for avenues of public engagement, as confirmed by Chris, if I share my book on GitHub publicly, that is a 7 for avenues of public engagement. Student work is presented and shared with the outside community. Something I want to point out is I do have this profile viewer, and people, I've had like quite a few visitors of my profile who did come to see my work, which is quite cool. I also want to point out that I am now part of this organization here of the Milwaukee Cyber Chiefs. So this is for Robotics Club through MSOE, and I'm a programmer for that team. And although it's like not a completely different programming for first robotics than statistical predictive analysis, there's still some really advanced Java concepts that can translate. And I can use my ability to really just learn and assess complex STEM topics into that things. And me and one of those things would be learning how the APIs and libraries of that work. One the lead programmer for Cyber Cheese, who cut the cheese?
Cyber Cheese.
Cyber Cheese! Yeah! One of the lead programmers actually, when adding me to the organization on GitHub, actually left me a little comment about the thing. This is more of just a really technical answer. It's not good grammar. I'm not defending his grammar, but I am defending that this is a person that actually was one of the first people that actually began to understand what I was doing. Not many people were understanding what I'm doing. It makes me sad, but it was exciting, and because he's a really smart programmer and was able to interpret what I'm talking about, and we were able to lead into a conversation about that. That's about all. Again, I have my documentation here. If you have any questions, just ask me. I probably would be presenting this at exhibition, and I could probably sit down and have a longer conversation then. You can reach out to me, or you can scan these QR codes for the written documentation or for GitHubs to run the programs for yourself. Thank you. Any questions?
Actually, I have more of a comment than a question. Well, actually, no, I do have a question. So you said that the seed was something that you cracked yourself. What was like the main thing of the seed? What was the seed?
The seed? I think I have the seed in the documentation, so...
Like, no, what was the seed for? Like, why did you use it specifically?
What do you mean?
Did you use a specific world, or did you just randomly
Oh, so
generate
that world, like I said, it had to be a text seed for the thing. And in the documentation, I make this, when I'm explaining that in the artifact 4 documentation, the seed for that world, I did know this initially, but like that's not what I do. I don't act upon it in any other way. But the original seed of the world was text seed. But when I run the algorithm, the seed, the thing that converts the text seed into a use, because text cannot be used as numbers within numeral expressions. It's a 32-bit integer hash, which is explained in general seed math, which is in the second chapter, which converts, actually, it's what is a seed, that's what it's explained, which then converts that into a usable seed for the thing. So that was the thing. And then I got an outcome of like 9 seeds, and then I had to filter through them manually. But filtering through 9 seeds is way better than filtering through 4 billion seeds.
Any other questions for Tate?
Comments, concerns, wonders.
Great job, Tate. Oh, we got one.
When did you start working on this project?
So this started, you know, like kind of late because I didn't have a final project for trimester 3 data analytics. But then it really just exploded into working a lot throughout the summer because it was really something. Because what's really good about this is I like Minecraft. I like technical analysis. It's all stuff I like. So I was able to spend a lot of time and go down a lot of different aspects of it. With the final ambitious goal being this, but there was a lot of substeps and evidence that you see throughout this and in my folder of the iterations of of initially trying to how I would attack this and ask for help. I think that answers the question.
All right. Tate, you can head up to Treehouse. Thank you very much. You can head up to Treehouse, and we'll call you back down when we're ready for you.
Students in here and head back to the same breakout rooms, or you can change, but you have to stay in the same room that you picked.
Does that make sense?
Enough. It was very fast. Yes. It was very fast, but I think